The alarm rang softly in the small sleeping room. Yuna opened her eyes slowly and looked at the metal ceiling above her bed. Another day on the space station had begun. She stretched her arms and yawned. Her body felt heavy and tired. She had worked very late the night before, fixing a broken air filter in the lower deck. Yuna was a maintenance worker on Station 14. It was a large station that floated in the dark space between two star systems. Many different alien species lived and worked here. Yuna was one of the few humans on the station. She had been here for 3 years now, and she had learned to live with all kinds of strange creatures. But there was one thing Yuna could not live without: coffee. Every morning, she needed her hot coffee. It was the only thing that made her feel awake and ready for work. Back on Earth, she had drunk coffee every single day since she was 16 years old. Now, in deep space, she still kept this habit. She sat up on her bed and put her feet on the cold floor. The room was small but comfortable. She had a bed, a small desk, a closet, and a tiny kitchen area in the corner. On the kitchen shelf, she kept her most precious item, her coffee mug. It was a white mug with a picture of a small cat on it. Her mother had given it to her before she left Earth. Every morning, Yuna used this mug to drink her coffee. She walked to the kitchen area with sleepy eyes. She turned on the coffee machine and waited for it to heat up. The machine made a soft humming sound. Yuna smiled. Soon, she would have her morning coffee, and everything would be fine. She reached up to the shelf to get her mug, but her hand touched only empty air. She blinked and looked at the shelf. The mug was not there. Yuna frowned. She always put the mug in the same place, every single day. She looked to the left. She looked to the right. She checked behind the coffee machine. She opened the small cabinet above the sink. The mug was nowhere. This was very strange. Yuna lived alone in her room. No one came in here except her. She did not have any visitors. So where did the mug go? She got down on her knees and looked under the small table. Nothing. She checked under her bed. Only dust and an old sock. She looked inside her closet. Just clothes and work tools. The mug had disappeared. Yuna stood in the middle of her room with her hands on her hips. She was confused and a little bit annoyed. She really needed her coffee. Without it, her brain did not work properly. She felt like a machine without power. Then she noticed something on the floor. Near the door, there were small marks on the metal surface. She bent down to look more closely. They were paw prints, tiny paw prints, made with some kind of dust or dirt. The prints went from her kitchen area to the door and out into the hallway. Yuna knew those paw prints. She had seen them many times before. They belonged to Liko. Liko was a Velran cub. The Velrans were a species of small, furry aliens from a cold planet far away. They looked a little bit like Earth foxes, but with bigger ears and 6 legs instead of 4. Adult Velrans were about the size of a large dog, but Liko was still a cub, only about the size of a house cat. Yuna had found Liko 8 months ago. His transport ship had crashed near the station. The rescue team found only one survivor. A tiny, scared cub. Hiding in a broken storage box, his family did not survive the crash. He was alone in the universe. The station officials did not know what to do with him. Velron space was very far away. It would take years to send him back to his home planet. And he was too young to take care of himself. He needed someone to look after him. Yuna had volunteered. She did not know why exactly. Maybe it was because she saw how scared and alone he looked. Maybe it was because she missed Earth and wanted some company. Or maybe it was just because those big, golden eyes looked at her and something inside her heart melted. So Liko came to live with her. At first, it was difficult. He did not speak the common language. He was afraid of everything. He hid under the bed for 3 days and would not come out. Yuna left food and water for him and spoke to him in a soft voice. Slowly, very slowly, he started to trust her. Now, 8 months later, Liko was like her own child. He followed her around the station. He slept at the foot of her bed. He learned to speak simple words in the common language. He was still shy around other people, but with Yuna, he was playful and loving. But sometimes, Liko did strange things. Things that Yuna did not understand. He would hide her tools. He would refuse to eat certain foods. He would make strange chirping sounds in the middle of the night. Yuna tried to learn about Velron culture, but there was not much information available. She had to figure things out by herself. And now, it seemed that Liko had taken her coffee mug. Yuna sighed and opened her door. She stepped out into the hallway and looked at the floor. Yes. The tiny paw prints continued down the corridor. They went toward the cargo bay at the end of the hall. She started walking, following the prints. The hallway was quiet at this early hour. Most of the station residents were still sleeping. Only the soft hum of the station machinery could be heard. The lights were dim, set to the early morning mode. As she walked, Yuna thought about why Liko would take her mug. He had never done this before. He knew the mug was important to her. She always told him to be careful around it, so why would he suddenly take it and run away? She reached the cargo bay door and pressed the button to open it. The large door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the cargo bay was dark and full of boxes and crates. Supplies for the station were stored here. Food, medicine, machine parts, and many other things. Yuna stepped inside and looked around. The paw prints were harder to see here because the floor was dirtier. But she knew Liko was in here somewhere. She could feel it. She took a deep breath and called out in a soft voice. Liko, are you in here? I am not angry. I just want to talk. There was no answer. Only silence. But Yuna was patient. She had learned that Liko needed time. He did not like to be rushed. So she sat down on a nearby crate and waited. Somewhere in this dark room, her little alien cub was hiding. And he had her coffee mug. She needed to find out why. Yuna sat on the crate in the dark cargo bay. She did not move. She did not make any sound. She just waited. The air was cool and smelled like metal and old plastic. Somewhere above her head, a ventilation fan made a soft whirring noise. She knew Liko was in here. She could feel his presence. After 8 months of living together, she had learned to sense when he was near. It was like a mother knowing her child was in the room, even without seeing them. Minutes passed slowly. Yuna kept her body relaxed and her breathing calm. She did not want to scare him. If she moved too fast or spoke too loud, he would run away and hide somewhere else. And then she would have to start the search all over again. Finally, she heard a small sound. It came from behind a stack of large crates in the corner. A tiny shuffle. A soft breath. Yuna smiled but did not turn her head. She pretended she did not hear anything. More minutes passed. Then, slowly, a small furry head appeared from behind the crates. 2 large golden eyes looked at her with worry and fear. The fur on his head was a soft, blue-gray color, like clouds before rain. His big ears were pressed flat against his skull, a sign that he was nervous. Yuna kept her voice very soft and gentle. Hello, little one. I see you there. Will you come out and talk to me? Liko did not move. He just stared at her with those big eyes. His 6 legs were hidden behind the crate, ready to run if needed. Yuna tried again. I am not angry, Liko. I promise. I just want to understand. Why did you take my mug? There was a long silence. Then, a small voice spoke. It was high-pitched and shaky, like a child who was about to cry. Liko. Liko, sorry, but Liko must. Yuna tilted her head. You must? Why must you take my mug? Liko slowly came out from behind the crate. He walked on all 6 legs, his body low to the ground. In his 2 front paws, he held the white coffee mug with the cat picture. He clutched it tightly against his furry chest, as if it was the most important thing in the world. He stopped a few steps away from Yuna and looked up at her. His golden eyes were wet with tears. His whole body was shaking. Hot liquid, he said. Hot liquid bad. Burns. Hurts. Kills. Yuna blinked. She did not understand. Hot liquid? You mean my coffee? Liko nodded quickly, his ears still flat. Yes. Coffee. Hot. Very hot. Yuna drinks hot liquid every morning. Liko watches. Liko scared. Liko very, very scared. Yuna felt her heart squeeze in her chest. She had not expected this. She thought maybe Liko was playing a game or being naughty. But this was something else entirely. He was genuinely afraid. She slid down from the crate and sat on the floor, making herself smaller. Now she was at the same level as Liko. She kept her movements slow and careful. Liko, can you tell me more? Why are you scared of my coffee? Liko's whole body trembled. The mug shook in his little paws. He took a deep breath, trying to be brave. On Velra, he began, using the name of his home planet. Hot is danger. Very big danger. Velran body. Cannot take hot. Liquid, above warm. Burns Velran's skin. Burns Velran mouth. Burns inside. He touched his throat with one paw. Velran, who drinks hot liquid, dies. Always dies. Yuna felt cold shock run through her body. She had not known this. She had never read anything about this in the little information she found about Velrans. Their planet was cold, yes, but she did not know that heat was actually deadly to them. Liko, she said softly. How hot is dangerous for Velrans? Liko thought for a moment, trying to find the right words. His common language was still not perfect. Warm is okay. Like body warm. But hot. Like steam hot. Like fire hot. Very bad. Velran's skin melts. Velran insides burn. Yuna nodded slowly. She was beginning to understand. For humans, coffee was hot but safe. The mouth and throat could handle temperatures that would burn the skin. Humans had been drinking hot liquids for thousands of years. Their bodies had adapted to it. But for Velrans, it was different. Their bodies had evolved on a frozen planet. They had never needed to handle high temperatures. Hot liquid was like poison to them. Like acid, and Liko had watched her drink coffee every single morning for 8 months. Oh, Liko, Yuna whispered. Her eyes began to fill with tears. You have been worried about me all this time? Liko nodded, his ears finally rising a little bit. Every morning, Yuna drinks hot liquid. Every morning, Liko thinks. Today is the day. Today Yuna will burn inside. Today Yuna will die. His voice cracked. Liko cannot lose Yuna. Liko already lost family. Liko cannot lose Yuna too. The tears spilled down Yuna's cheeks. She could not help it. This little creature had been carrying this fear inside him for months. Every single morning, he watched her drink coffee and thought she was killing herself. Every single morning, he was terrified that she would die, and he never said anything. He just watched and worried and tried to be brave. Until today. Today, he could not take it anymore. Today, he decided to act. He took the mug to save her life. Come here, Yuna said, opening her arms. Please come here, little one. Liko hesitated. He looked at the mug in his paws, then at Yuna. Slowly, he walked toward her. When he reached her, she gently took the mug from his paws and set it aside. Then she picked him up and held him against her chest. Liko was warm and soft. His 6 legs wrapped around her arm. His face pressed against her shoulder. She could feel his little heart beating very fast. Thank you, she whispered into his fur. Thank you for trying to protect me. You are so brave and so kind. Liko made a small chirping sound. It was a sound he made when he was feeling safe and loved. Yuna had learned that sound well over the past months. They sat together on the cold cargo bay floor. Yuna held her little alien cub and stroked his soft fur. She thought about how scared he must have been. How alone he must have felt with this fear. He had no one to ask. He had no one to tell him that humans were different. Liko, she said after a while, I need to explain something to you. Something important. He pulled back a little and looked at her face. His golden eyes were still wet but no longer filled with panic. "Humans are different from Velrans," she began. "Our bodies work in a different way. Hot liquid that would hurt a Velran does not hurt a human. We can drink hot coffee and hot tea and hot soup. It does not burn us. It does not kill us." Liko stared at her. His ears went up in surprise. "No burn? No hurt?" "No burn and no hurt," Yuna confirmed. "I promise you. I have been drinking hot coffee since I was a young girl. Many years. And I am still alive and healthy." Liko's mouth opened in shock. He could not believe what he was hearing. All those mornings, all that fear, all that worry, for nothing? But steam," he said. "Liko sees steam from cup. Steam is hot, very hot." "Yes, the steam is hot," Yuna agreed. "But human mouths and throats are strong. They can handle the heat. It is strange, I know. But it is true." Liko was quiet for a long moment. His little mind was working hard, trying to understand this new information. It went against everything he knew about the world. On Velra, hot meant death. Always. No exceptions. But here was Yuna, telling him that for humans, hot was okay. Hot was safe. Hot was even enjoyable. "Yuna not lying?" he asked in a tiny voice. "Yuna really safe?" Yuna smiled and kissed the top of his furry head. "I am really safe. I promise. And I will never leave you, little one. Not from coffee. Not from anything." Liko let out a long breath. For the first time in 8 months, the fear in his chest began to fade. Maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. Yuna carried Liko back to her room. He was still holding on to her tightly, his 6 legs wrapped around her arm. His body had stopped shaking, but she could tell he was still processing everything. His big ears kept moving, up and down, left and right. That was something he did when he was thinking hard. When they entered the room, Yuna set him gently on her bed. She placed the coffee mug on the kitchen counter and sat down next to him. The coffee machine was still on. But she did not care about coffee right now. She cared about her little cub. "Liko," she said softly, "can you tell me more about Velra? About how things work there?" Liko looked at her with curious eyes. No one had ever asked him about his home planet before. Most people on the station just saw him as a small, strange creature. They did not care about where he came from or what his life was like. He sat up straight, tucking his legs underneath his body. "What Yuna wants to know. One. Everything," Yuna said. "I want to understand your world. I want to understand you." Liko's ears perked up happily. He loved it when Yuna paid attention to him. He loved it when she wanted to learn about him. "Velra is cold," he began. "Very cold. Always cold. Snow everywhere. Ice everywhere. No hot on Velra. Never hot." Yuna nodded. She knew the planet was cold. The station database had that much information, but hearing it from Liko made it feel more real. "The sun on Velra," Liko continued, "is far, far away. Very small in sky. Gives light but not warm. Velrans live underground. In caves. Caves are warmer than outside, but still cold. Cold is normal. Cold is safe." "And heat is dangerous?" Yuna asked. Liko nodded seriously. "Heat is most dangerous thing. Velran body is made for cold. Velran blood is different. Thick. Works only in cold. When Velran body gets hot, bad things happen. Blood gets thin. Organs stop working. Skin melts. Very bad. Very painful." Yuna felt her stomach twist. She could not imagine living in a world where warmth was deadly. For humans, warmth meant comfort. Warmth meant safety. But for Velrans, it was the opposite. "So, when you came to this station," she said, "everything must have felt so dangerous to you." Liko nodded again. His eyes grew sad as he remembered those first days. "Station is warm. Everywhere warm. Liko was scared all the time. Liko thought. Liko would die here. But Liko has special medicine. Station doctor gave Liko shots. Medicine helps Liko survive in warm place. Yuna remembered those first weeks. The station doctor had indeed given Liko some kind of treatment. She had not understood what it was for at the time. Now, she understood. The medicine helped his body adjust to temperatures that would normally be fatal to his species. But the medicine does not make you comfortable with hot things, she guessed. It just keeps you alive. Yes, Liko said. Liko can live here. But hot things still scary. Still feel wrong. And Liko knows. Hot liquid is worst. On Velra, we have story. Old story. About Velran who drank warm water. Water was not even very warm. Just a little warm. But Velran died. Burned from inside. It is. Warning story. Told to all cubs. Never drink warm. Never touch warm. Warm is death. Yuna reached out and gently stroked his fur. No wonder he had been so afraid. He had grown up hearing stories about the deadly danger of warmth, and then he watched his human caretaker drink boiling hot liquid every single morning. It must have been like watching someone drink poison. I am so sorry, Liko, she said. I did not know. I should have explained things to you sooner. Liko shook his head. Yuna did not know. Liko did not tell. Liko was too scared to ask. Liko thought maybe humans were dying slowly, taking poison every day, getting sicker and sicker. Liko watched Yuna very carefully, looking for signs of sickness. But Yuna never got sick. Liko was confused. Yuna could not help but laugh a little. So you thought I was a very slow suicide? Oh, Liko did not know that word, but he understood the meaning. His ears drooped. Liko thought maybe humans were not very smart. Maybe humans did not know coffee was killing them. Maybe Yuna needed someone to save her. Yuna's heart melted. This little creature loved her so much that he thought he needed to save her from herself. Even though he was small and scared. Even though he was a child in a strange world, he was willing to do anything to protect her. Come here, she said, and pulled him onto her lap. You are the bravest cub I have ever known. And I am so lucky to have you. Liko made his happy chirping sound again. He pressed his face against her hand and closed his eyes. For a moment, they just sat together in comfortable silence. Then Yuna had an idea. Liko, would you like to learn more about humans? About how our bodies work? Liko's eyes snapped open. He looked at her with excitement. Yes. Liko wants to know. Liko wants to understand. Yuna smiled and reached for her portable screen. It was a small device that could access the station's information network. She typed in a search and found some basic information about human biology. Look, she said, showing him the screen. This is a diagram of a human body. See? We have a mouth, a throat, a stomach. When we eat or drink, the food goes down this tube here. Liko studied the picture carefully. His big eyes moved over every detail. Looks like Velran inside. But different color. Yes, the basic design is similar, Yuna agreed. Many species have similar body plans. But the details are different. Look at this. She pointed to the diagram of the human mouth and throat. Human tissue here is very strong. It can handle temperatures up to about 70 degrees without damage. Liko's ears went flat. 70? That is boiling. Not quite boiling, Yuna said. Water boils at 100 degrees. But yes, 70 is very hot, and humans can drink liquid at that temperature without any problem. Liko stared at the screen. He could not believe it. 70 degrees would kill a Velran instantly. The blood would cook in their veins. The organs would fail. But humans could just drink it? Like it was nothing? Humans are very strong, he said with wonder in his voice. Yuna laughed. In some ways, yes. But in other ways, We are weak. We cannot survive in very cold temperatures like Velrans can. If I went to your planet without special protection, I would freeze to death in minutes. Liko thought about this. It made sense. Every species was adapted to their own world. What was safe for one species could be deadly for another. He had never really thought about it before. He had assumed that what was true for Velrans was true for everyone. Liko was wrong, he admitted quietly. Liko thought hot was dangerous for all creatures. But it is only dangerous for Velrans. Not just Velrans, Yuna said gently. Many species cannot handle high temperatures. But humans can. We evolved on a planet with hot summers and cold winters. We had to adapt to many different temperatures. Our bodies learned to handle a wide range of heat and cold. Liko nodded slowly. He was learning so much. The universe was bigger and more complicated than he had ever imagined. There were so many different kinds of life, with so many different abilities and weaknesses. Yuna, he said suddenly, are there other things about humans that are different? Other things Liko should know? Yuna thought for a moment. Well, there are many things. Humans can eat foods that are poisonous to other species. We can survive injuries that would kill others. We can run for very long distances without stopping. We can. She paused. She did not want to overwhelm him. There would be time to learn everything later. Right now, the most important thing was that he understood the coffee situation. How about this? She said. Every day, I will teach you one new thing about humans. And you can teach me one new thing about Velrans. That way, we can understand each other better. Liko's whole face lit up with joy. His ears stood tall. His fur seemed to fluff out with happiness. Yes, Liko likes this plan. Liko will be the best student. Yuna hugged him close. Outside the window, the stars twinkled in the endless darkness of space. Inside the small room, a human and a Velran cub held each other, learning that love could bridge any gap between species. The next few days were full of learning for both Yuna and Liko. Every morning, after Yuna finished her coffee, they would sit together and share knowledge. Yuna told Liko about Earth and humans. Liko told Yuna about Velra and his people. It was like opening doors to new worlds. Liko learned that humans slept for only 8 hours a day, while Velrans needed 12 hours. He learned that humans only had 2 eyes, but those eyes could see more colors than Velran eyes. He learned that humans had something called sweating that helped them cool down when they were hot. This amazed him. Velrans did not sweat. They had no need to cool down on their frozen world. Yuna learned that Velrans could see in complete darkness because their eyes were designed for the dim caves of their planet. She learned that Velrans could hear sounds that were too quiet for human ears. She learned that Velran cubs stayed with their mothers for 10 years before they were considered adults. This made her realize how young Liko really was. He was just a baby by Velran standards, but the biggest learning happened on the 4th day after the coffee mug incident. Yuna was eating breakfast in the station cafeteria. It was a large room with many tables where station residents came to eat. Liko sat on the bench next to her, nibbling on some frozen berries. Frozen food was the only kind he could eat safely. Hot food was too dangerous for his sensitive mouth and stomach. A group of workers sat at a nearby table. They were from different species, all wearing the same blue uniforms of the engineering department. One of them was a tall Corvian, with dark purple skin and 4 arms. Another was a short Mendel, with spotted fur and a long tail. The third was a human man named Tay. Tay was new to the station. He had arrived only a week ago. He was young, maybe 25 years old, with kind eyes and a friendly smile. Yuna had talked to him a few times in the hallways. He seemed like a nice person. Today, Tay walked over to Yuna's table with his breakfast tray. On the tray was a large bowl of hot soup. Steam rose from the surface in gentle waves. "Mind if I sit here?" he asked. Yuna smiled and gestured to the empty seat across from her. "Please, go ahead." Tay sat down and began to eat his soup. He blew on each spoonful to cool it down a little, then put it in his mouth. It was a normal thing that humans did every day. But Liko was not watching normally. His body had gone stiff. His ears were pressed flat against his head. His golden eyes were fixed on the bowl of steaming soup. Yuna felt his small body trembling against her side. She understood immediately. Even though Liko now knew that hot liquid was safe for humans, seeing it happen was still scary for him. His mind knew the truth, but his body still reacted with fear. 8 months of terror did not disappear in just 4 days. Yuna put her hand on his back and stroked him gently. "It is okay," she whispered. "Remember what we learned. Humans can drink hot things safely." Liko nodded, but his body was still shaking. His eyes never left the soup bowl. He watched Tay take another spoonful, then another, waiting for something bad to happen, waiting for Tay to fall down and die. But nothing bad happened. Tay just ate his soup peacefully. He even smiled and said, This is good." The cook made it extra spicy today. Liko's ears twitched. "Spicy?" he whispered to Yuna. "What is spicy?" "What is spicy?" Yuna smiled. "Spicy is a type of flavor. It makes your mouth feel hot and tingly. Humans like it because it is exciting and tastes good." Liko looked horrified. "Humans eat things that make mouth feel hot? On purpose?" Tay overheard and laughed. He did not know the whole story, but he could tell the little alien was confused. Yeah, some humans love spicy food. The hotter, the better. There are even competitions to see who can eat the spiciest food without crying. Liko turned to Yuna with wide eyes. "Competitions? For eating hot things? Humans are. Very strange." Yuna laughed too. "I suppose we are. But every species is strange in their own way." Tay looked at Liko with curiosity. "You are a Velron, right? I read about your species when I was preparing for this assignment. Your planet is supposed to be incredibly cold, like colder than anything I can imagine." Liko nodded slowly. He was still nervous, but Tay's friendly voice made him feel a little better. "Velra is cold, yes. Very cold. Liko likes cold. Cold is safe." Tay nodded thoughtfully. "And heat is dangerous for you. That makes sense. Different planets, different rules." He looked at his soup, then back at Liko. "Is it hard for you, watching me eat this?" Liko hesitated. He did not want to be rude. But Yuna had taught him that honesty was important in building relationships. So he answered truthfully. "Yes, hard. Liko knows now that hot is safe for humans." Yuna taught Liko. But seeing it, still scary. Brain knows truth. Body still scared. Tay's expression softened. He understood what Liko meant. Fear was not always logical. Sometimes the body reacted before the mind could catch up. "Would it help if I explained what is happening?" Tay asked gently. "Like, step by step?" Liko looked at Yuna. She nodded encouragingly. He turned back to Tay. "Yes. Maybe. Liko wants to understand." Tay picked up his spoon and held it in front of him. "Okay. So this soup is about 60 degrees right now. That is pretty hot. If I touch it with my finger, it would hurt a little." He demonstrated by dipping his finger quickly into the soup and pulling it out. "See? Just a small sting. But my mouth is different. My mouth is designed to handle heat." He took a small sip of soup. "When the hot liquid enters my mouth, my tongue and cheeks feel the heat. But they do not get damaged. The tissue is thick and strong. It is like wearing protective gloves when you handle something sharp." Liko listened carefully. He watched Tay's face for any sign of pain or discomfort. But Tay just looked normal. Even happy. "The hot liquid goes down my throat," Tay continued, swallowing. "Again, no damage. The throat is also protected, and by the time it reaches my stomach, the liquid has cooled down a lot. Body heat and air have made it less hot, so my stomach receives warm liquid, not hot liquid." Liko's ears slowly started to rise. This explanation made sense. It was logical. The human body was like a machine designed to handle heat at certain points, just like a Velron body was designed to handle extreme cold. "Show Liko again," he said, his voice less shaky now. "Drink more soup. Liko will watch." Tay smiled and ate several more spoonfuls of soup, while Liko observed carefully. With each spoonful, Liko's fear decreased a little bit more. He began to see the hot soup not as poison, but as just food. Different food from what he ate. Dangerous for him, but perfectly safe for humans. When Tay finished his soup, Liko let out a long breath. His body finally relaxed. For the first time ever, he had watched someone consume hot liquid without feeling terror. "Thank you," he said to Tay. "Thank you for explaining. Liko understands better now." Tay grinned and reached out to pat Liko's head gently. "No problem, little buddy. We are all just trying to understand each other out here in space. Different species, different needs, same station. We have to learn to live together." Yuna felt tears prick her eyes. She was so proud of Liko for facing his fear. And she was grateful for Tay's kindness and patience. "Would you like to join us for lunch sometimes?" she asked Tay. "Liko is learning about human customs. It might help him to see more examples." Tay nodded happily. "I would love that. And maybe Liko can teach me about Velran customs too. I'm always curious about other cultures." Liko's ears perked up all the way. He had never had a friend other than Yuna. The idea of having another person to talk to and learn from made him feel excited and nervous at the same time. "Liko would like that," he said softly. "Liko will try to be good teacher." From that day on, Tay became a regular presence in their lives. Every lunch, he would sit with Yuna and Liko and share stories about Earth and human life, and slowly, day by day, Liko's fear of hot things faded away, replaced by curiosity and wonder. 3 months had passed since the morning when Liko stole the coffee mug. So much had changed since then. Liko had grown a little taller. His fur had become thicker and softer. His common language had improved greatly. He could now speak in complete sentences without struggling to find words, but the biggest change was in his heart. The fear that had lived there for so long was now just a small shadow. It still appeared sometimes, when he saw very hot things or heard steam hissing, but it no longer controlled him. He had learned that the universe was bigger than his fear. Different species lived in different ways. What was dangerous for one was safe for another. This was not scary. This was just how things were. Every morning, Yuna woke up to the same routine. The alarm would ring. She would stretch and yawn. She would get out of bed and walk to the kitchen. And there, waiting for her, would be Liko. He had developed a new habit. A habit that made Yuna smile every single day. On this particular morning, Yuna woke up and found Liko already awake. He was sitting on the kitchen counter, next to the coffee machine. In his small paws, he held a tiny device. It was a digital thermometer that he had asked Tay to get for him from the engineering supplies. "Good morning, Yuna," he chirped happily. "Liko is ready." Yuna laughed softly and walked over to him. She turned on the coffee machine and waited for it to brew. The familiar smell of coffee filled the small room. It was the best smell in the universe, as far as Yuna was concerned. When the coffee was ready, she poured it into her mug. The white mug with the cat picture. Steam rose from the dark liquid in gentle spirals. Liko leaned forward carefully, making sure to keep his face away from the steam. He dipped the thermometer into the coffee and watched the numbers on the screen. 87 degrees, he announced. "Too hot. Must wait." Yuna nodded and set the mug down. She sat at the small table and watched Liko with love in her eyes. Every morning, he did this. Every morning, he tested her coffee temperature. Not because he still feared she would die, but because he loved her and wanted to take care of her. It was his way of showing love. By making sure her coffee was not too hot, by being part of her morning routine. by being there for her when she started each day. Liko watched the mug carefully. His big golden eyes never left the steam. After a minute, he tested the temperature again. 78 degrees. Still too hot. Humans can drink 70 without damage, but 70 is limit. Better to wait for 65. Safer that way. Yuna smiled. He had memorized all the numbers. He had studied human biology so carefully. He wanted to understand everything about how her body worked. Not out of fear anymore, but out of love and curiosity. You take such good care of me, she said. What would I do without you? Liko's ears perked up proudly. Yuna would drink too hot coffee and burn tongue. Not dangerous, but uncomfortable. Liko protects Yuna from uncomfortable. Yuna laughed. He was right. Before Liko started testing her coffee, she had burned her tongue many times. She was always too impatient to wait for it to cool down. Now, with Liko's help, she never burned herself. Another minute passed. Liko tested the temperature again. 65 degrees. Perfect. Yuna can drink now. He handed her the mug with great ceremony, like he was presenting a gift. Yuna took it with both hands and brought it to her lips. She took a small sip. The coffee was perfect. Warm and delicious, but not too hot. Thank you, my little guardian, she said. Liko climbed down from the counter and jumped onto her lap. He curled up there, his 6 legs tucked under his body, his head resting against her arm. Yuna sipped her coffee and stroked his soft fur. Outside the window, stars twinkled in the endless darkness. Yuna, Liko said after a while. Liko has been thinking. Quote, about what? About before. About when Liko took Mug and hid in cargo bay. He paused, organizing his thoughts. Liko was very scared then. Scared of hot liquid, scared of losing Yuna, scared of everything. Yuna set down her mug and looked at him. You were very brave. You faced your fear to protect someone you love. That is the bravest thing anyone can do. Liko shook his head. Liko was not brave. Liko was confused. Liko did not understand. Liko thought Yuna was in danger when Yuna was not in danger. Liko was wrong. Being wrong is not the same as being cowardly, Yuna said gently. You did what you thought was right. You tried to save me based on what you knew. The fact that you were mistaken does not make your actions less loving. Liko thought about this for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Liko understands. Liko tried best with knowledge Liko had. Now Liko has more knowledge. Now, Liko does better. Exactly, Yuna said. That is how we all grow. We learn new things. We change our understanding. We do better. That is what makes us wise. Liko looked up at her with his big golden eyes. Yuna is wise. Yuna taught Liko many things. Yuna is best human. Yuna felt tears well up in her eyes. She had not expected to become a mother when she signed up for this space station job. She had not planned to adopt an alien cub from a crashed ship. But life had other plans. And she was grateful for every moment. And you are the best cub, she said, kissing the top of his head. The best in all the galaxy. They sat together in comfortable silence as Yuna finished her coffee. The station hummed softly around them. Somewhere in the distance, she could hear the sound of other residents starting their day. Footsteps in the corridor, voices greeting each other. The normal sounds of life in space. When the coffee was done, Yuna washed the mug and put it back on the shelf. Liko watched her with satisfied eyes. His morning mission was complete. He had protected Yuna from uncomfortable hot coffee. He had done his job. Ready for breakfast? Yuna asked. Liko jumped off her lap and landed gracefully on the floor. Yes, Liko wants frozen berries, and maybe some ice cream if cafeteria has some. Yuna laughed. Ice cream was Liko's favorite food. It was cold and sweet, and perfect for a Velran. The station cafeteria had started stocking it just for him after Yuna made a special request. They walked out of the room together. Yuna held the door open for Liko. and he scampered through on his 6 little legs. In the hallway, they met Tay, who was also heading to breakfast. "Good morning," Tay said cheerfully. "Did Liko do the temperature check again today?" 65 degrees exactly, Liko announced proudly. "Perfect drinking temperature." Yuna did not burn tongue. Tay laughed and gave Liko a gentle pat. "You are the best coffee guardian in the whole station, maybe in the whole galaxy." The 3 of them walked to the cafeteria together. Yuna in the middle, Tay on one side, Liko trotting along on the other. They looked like an unusual family. A human woman, a human man, and a 6-legged alien cub, different species from different worlds, but connected by something stronger than biology: love, understanding, the willingness to learn about each other. As they entered the cafeteria, Yuna thought about how much her life had changed. 3 years ago, she had left Earth looking for adventure. She had wanted to see the stars, to explore the unknown, to experience things that no one on Earth could imagine. She had found all of that and more. She had found a home in the cold darkness of space. She had found friends from species she never knew existed. And she had found a child, a small, furry, 6-legged child who tested her coffee every morning and loved her with all his heart. This was her life now, and she would not change it for anything in the universe. Liko looked up at her and smiled. His golden eyes shone with happiness. His ears stood tall and proud. "Yuna," he said, "today is good day." Yuna smiled back. "Yes, little one. Today is a very good day." And together, they walked into the warmth and noise of the cafeteria, ready to face whatever the universe had in store for them.